guys, Hobart commuter here again. Just heading home for the evening. Just going along Sandy Bay Road. Thought I'd take a different route home this time. Now, a little bit annoyed this morning. I actually had a crash on a roundabout and I wasn't wearing the camera. The reason why I wasn't wearing the camera is because it's not my camera, it's my brother's camera. And this is a GoPro. And it started to rain. And in order to use the external mic, I need skeleton housing on the camera. So therefore, when it rains, I get a little bit nervous about the water getting into the electronics through those ports. So I took the camera off and I was just riding around down Grosvenor Street towards the university. And I went through a roundabout and the guy didn't give way. So he's basically coming in on my left. And I was going through. He ended up stopping, but he stopped about a metre beyond the line. And by that stage, I'd locked up my back brake and then I realised I wasn't going to stop in time. So I locked up my front brake and I went straight over the handlebars. All very dramatic. So he wasn't very impressed, and to be honest, neither was I. But to his credit, we had a pretty genial discussion, and he didn't look like the kind of guy to apologise easily. Kind of wore the tight lips and hooded eyes. He wasn't. I think he secretly really wanted to blame me. And his big thing was, he did apologise. He said he was in the wrong, and in the eyes of the law, he was in the wrong. So he failed to give way. But he did maintain that I was going too fast into the roundabout, and that he didn't see me. He had a pretty clear line of sight, so arguably he should have seen me, but I think he actually might have been right by the fact that I was going too fast. I think I was going too fast. I think with the wet conditions, I should have been going a bit slower. And I'm willing to admit that, and I won't go that fast again into that roundabout. Because even though I was in the right and the law's on my side there, it's really going to count for absolutely nothing if I run into him. It's going to be me who loses there. So really, as a rider, you have to be thinking, if somebody's going to do something wrong, you still need to be going at a speed at which you can react to that mistake. It's very, very difficult, I think, in some instances, to maintain a speed and still still sort of go with the traffic flow and that sort of thing. But if it means your safety, then that's what you actually have to might do. So the other thing I wanted to talk about on this blog today was congestion. Having said that, there's not much congestion here in the traffic this evening, but I was just reading this really interesting article from the national newspaper of our country, Australia. It's called The Australian, funny enough. And it was talking about the myth of congestion, or not the myth of congestion, but the myth that you can cure congestion by building more roads. So their argument is, essentially, if you build it, they will come. So if you build more roads, or you build better bypasses that can have a greater capacity, more people will take the opportunity to access those facilities. So after a little while, having the new highway in, more and more people will use it because it's an easier way to get to their destination. And it'll reach capacity again, then you'll be right back to where you started. Now I just have to concentrate here a little bit. So I want to go with the traffic. Alrighty. Yeah, so that's an interesting argument, because the reason why I thought of it is because we've just had the federal budget about a week ago, and they've announced all this, especially the infrastructure budget. So there's probably some infrastructure projects in there to do with bypasses and so on and so forth, probably for the major city centres in Australia, like Sydney and Melbourne. I can't speak with much authority about that. I haven't been keeping too close an eye on it. But so the article basically said, and it came out of a Transport Review, the article said the only real way to defeat or to really lower congestion on the roads is to put in a congestion tax. So that's actually charge people to use the road. So there's probably a couple of instances in major cities in which that's been a success. The example, obviously, that jumps to everyone's mind, and I think that they used in the article, was London. So the London congestion tax, which has been in for, I don't know, actually, probably 10 plus years now. And I think they said, it's congestion tax is about £11.50, which is about 20 Australian dollars a day to drive through that middle part of London. And they said it's had a massive reduction in the amount of cars that do move through London, but also an influx in the amount of cyclists too. Some phenomenal jump, like 35% in the amount of cyclists that cycle through London. So, in terms of a congestion tax, it's just an interesting idea. I've never heard it floated here in Hobart, or indeed in any major capital city in Australia. Not that that means that it's not happening. I'm just thinking in terms of a local context here, how wildly unpopular a congestion tax would be in Hobart. It would be political suicide to put that forth as a motion. But it would be such a brave politician to do it, I think. But here's the thing, and I think the argument against it, one of the arguments against it that I read, is it kind of disadvantages the poor. So it's a tax on the people who can least afford it. I'll just get ahead here. This car chance. Thank you. So for example, people who are a bit more sort of well off can live closer to the city centre. Therefore, they don't have to travel as far to work. They can look at other alternative means of transport, if not car, walking, or even cycling. Whereas if you're not as well off and you have to travel in from the outer suburbs or far away, really a car is a necessity. Now, you could argue that you could do park and ride facilities from somewhere, and but I don't know. I just don't know. I would love to see it happen. I would love to pay for the privilege of using the road to try and remove some of the congestion. But to be honest, I mean, even for what you've seen during this video, it's not. I mean, look at this. This is crazy. I would have thought this was really peak time, but anyway. Hobart's not ready for that yet. Not ready for that at all. Alright, so mainly I just wanted to share that story with you of crashing this morning, which is one of the few crashes that I've actually had. And next time I ride in, I'll show you where it happened, and you can see whether the visibility is any good or not. Anyway, thanks for joining me again, and I'll see you next time.